And if you have a question, don't forget to raise your question to the speaker. And of course, that later on we will give time to all participants. If there are some questions would like to raise to the speaker, we will give you opportunity. You can turn on the mic later on and talk directly to the speaker. So in this opportunity, we welcome to all the participants. I saw that a lot of participants already. It's reached almost 115 participants. And yet I see that a lot of participants come from the new, from the new college student of the master degree. We welcome you. I hope you're in a good condition. Now, before that, we would like to start this event. There might be like maybe we have an opening speech to our beloved student, Dr. Erna Mulyati. Maybe we would like to give most welcome to our speaker and to all participants this evening. Bu Erna, please time and give it to you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Stephen. Okay, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf on University Logistik and Business International, I would like to extend a warm welcome to our rector, vice rector, dean, respected lecturers, faculty members, and especially our master students. A special welcome goes to our new students who have just joined the master program in Logistic Management. We are delighted to have you with us and look forward to learning and growing together. This lecture is part and initiative by the Master Program in Logistic Management in collaboration with the Dr. Hijrah from Hager College of Technology Abu Dhabi and with our students to broaden knowledge in logistic and supply chain management by engaging directly with distinguished lecturer from abroad. Today, we have honor to hold this international guest lecture with Dr. Meti, who will share his insight on cold chain in the digital age. The cold chain is essential in ensuring the safety and quality of food, pharmaceuticals, and other temperature-sensitive goods. With the rapid development of technology such as IoT, blockchain, and AI, we face both new challenges and great opportunities in building more efficient and sustainable supply chains. We believe that Dr. Meti expertise will broaden our knowledge and inspire us to explore innovative solutions in logistics and supply chain management. Dr. Meti, thank you for taking the time to join us today. We look forward to your presentation and learning for your experience. Let's give Dr. Meti a warm welcome. Let's dive in, explore new ideas. Enjoy and thank you, Mr. Stephen. Okay.
Yes, thank you very much, Bu Erna. Thank you
Okay.
for your warm greetings to all of us. Okay, like people Indonesian words saying that, I speaking in Indonesia, tak kenal maka tak sayang. Tapi jangan terlalu sayang, nanti susah move on. Okay, before we start everything, we must be love and proud with our university. So before we start everything, we should take a glance regarding our university. Maybe we will share a glance about our university regarding for the master degree, of course. Then after that, we can share why you must be proud, why we are proud. Then later on, we put a slide that show our university. To all participants, maybe we can unmute so we can get people, all the audience can have nice. Yes. Here already, you can see from you very much. Thank you very much. I get unmute with admin. Well, yeah, you can see soon already. We have our university, our beloved university in MMLog, ULBI, Universitas Logistik Bisnis Internasional. We have postgraduate program with the master program in logistic management with concentration in logistics supply chain and everything. Yeah, logistic transportation, marketing management, logistic entrepreneur management, and post shipping management. So to all of you, the student, have a reference. Please do not hesitate to promote, to share this information to all relative or friend that you know already. Of course, this for you to know that study in the MMLog is not only to get the master degree. You have opportunity to earning 2 degree, which is MILT and CMLIT. And what most make benefit that you can get a master degree in here, when you have 3 years experience, you will get the CMLIT for certification, usually 5 years, but now in ULBI, you get 3 years. So please don't waste this opportunity. Do not, please reference to all of us, friends or relatives, to study for the master's degree and earn more knowledge and to get master degree. Of course, this master degree held by some respectable and reliable all the our lecture. Yeah. Next, please. Yeah, not forget the teacher have, for example, Professor Dr. Engineer Agus Purnomo, CMLT, have subject system logistic and supply chain management, procurement management, inventory control management. Professor Agus have a lot of experience in this kind of study. And we have Dr. Melia Eka Lestiani with study subject system modeling and quantitative method, and also transportation and distribution management. So to all students have a benefit in transportation, not forget. Yeah, not forget, we have Dr. Anna Mulyati as our opening speaker with subject in system logistic and supply chain management, warehousing management. Learn more about warehousing management. And we have also Dr. Mania with subject logistic information system and technology, digital logistic and supply chain management. This is the committee international lecture. That's all. Thank you to actually, this committee is actually student of this master degree program. So with the collaboration between the university, the lecturer, and also the student, we conduct this international lecture. Thank you to all the volunteers to support this activity. Now we are about to start the international lecture, but of course, let me check. We would like to have, of course, a keynote speaker from our beloved rector, Professor Nyoman. Let me see if Professor Nyoman is on the meeting line already or not. May I welcome Professor Nyoman?
Oke, selamat malam, Pak.
Yeah, please, Professor Nyoman, please give a keynote speaker and also warm greeting to all of us. Time and place I share to you, Professor Nyoman.
Okay, thank you very much, Pak Stephen. Very good evening to everyone who is joining this lecture this evening. And in particular, I would like to thank our speaker, Dr. Matej, who is going to share some knowledge and insight about cold chain. This is a very interesting topic, not only in Indonesia, but I think everywhere. And in particular, in Indonesia, this is a growing business actually. Some of the data shows that the cold chain industry is growing around 10% every year in Indonesia. We look forward very much to your lecture this evening. To all of the participants, I would like to thank you for attending this lecture. especially for the new students who are joining our university starting this academic year. Very much welcome to you. Next week, you will be starting your new semester in ULBI. As you all know, ULBI is a university under Indonesian Postal Company. It is relatively new university, and we focus on three cluster of field. One is in logistic and transportation. And the second cluster is in business and management. And the third one is in computing and informatics. The master program is on the logistic field of study. And we know that logistic is a very important field, especially in Indonesia, as we are a very big country, geographically complex, and logistic is still facing a lot of challenges in Indonesia. So that's why I think we need more and more people who can manage logistic more efficiently and more effectively in Indonesia. For the new students, I would like to say that, starting a new master program is obviously require a different mindset than doing an undergraduate degree. In master program, you are required to have a strong critical thinking, and you need to do research and write a thesis, as well as publish a paper based on your research. So it is really a shift from undergraduate study. And in particular, most of you are already working. So the classes are conducted on after working hours time. I know this is challenging for everybody because you probably already tired working from morning to evening. But with dedication, I think nothing is impossible. But I would like to say that once you enter this kind of program, you really need to have enough time to read the materials, to do the assignments, to have a discussion, group discussion with your other students. So with that, I think you will be finally successful in gaining your degree. It is not only a journey to get a certificate, I'm sure, but it is actually a journey to enhance your knowledge, to widen your perspective, to sharpen your critical thinking. But I think you need really to manage your time well because it is really challenging to do master degree after working hours, especially the mode of delivery mostly are online. We do expect that some of the meetings are conducted offline on campus, so that will provide you a better study environment, academic environment by attending the physical classes on campus. So that's basically I would like to say to all of the participants, especially for the new student this evening. Thank you very much for everybody who has been organizing this international lecture. Actually, we already started this international lecture last year. Right now, we have already 12 adjunct professors coming from many different universities and different countries in the world. Among them are very top universities like Stanford and Fuchs University in the USA. So once again, thank you very much, everybody, and enjoy the lecture this evening. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, Prof. Nyoman. Thank you. Thank you for your keynote speaking respondent, and also from the warm regards. And to all the participants, we saw it already. The participant have a new student, even from PT Pos, and also, if I not mistake, I saw that also participant actually is stationed in UK or United Kingdom. Wow, this is a real international lecturer. And thank you very much. Of course, that as mentioned by Prof. Nyoman, that cold chain is very important. Now, currently, cold chain business, it's growing up. Yeah. Then in this opportunity with international lecture, that we will all have opportunity to learn more about the cold chain. And not yet forget, we know that Indonesia have a unique and business that cold chain is very important that to grow our business in Indonesia. Now in front of us, we have our awesome speaker, Mr. Matej. As you know that if I check from the profile of Mr. Matej, it's very awesome. I was surprised and very proud that we have Mr. Matej here. If we check from all the reference, we can see what the work history, or as a lecturer of logistic and supply chain, and also we can see that there has a working in Amazon in e-commerce of supply chain, and also that in several, also not forget as a senior contract manager for DHL, as FMCG supply chain, as logistic manager in MWI as animal health, cold chain and pharmaceutical warehousing logistic, and also in UDL, cold chain and for FMCG warehousing and logistics. And so many accomplishments. With the skill, of course, how many can see that a lot of skill they can learn. So it means that today is really, really a good opportunity for us to have a very, experience from the lecturer, from the speaker, to learn about cold chain. So again, please stay tuned and we listen this international lecture until finish. And of course, not forget, prepare your question in advance. You can raise in the chat room. Then later on, we give you the opportunity to ask directly to the speaker. Without further, I will welcome to Dr. Matej. Dr. Matej, how are you? Are you good? And are you ready, excited?
I'm very well, Stephen. Thank you very much. I'm thrilled and excited to be here. Thank you very much for the opportunity and extending a great welcome. And thanks to all members of faculty of the ULBI, as well as the management team. And I really hope that all of you from the audience and mainly the master's program students will enjoy this. So all questions are welcome. Feel free to address them during the lecture. And I sincerely hope that you truly enjoyed it. So all this has been thanks to Mr. Yu being open to having lecturers from abroad, from different countries, having guest lectures. And my personal thank you is to Dr. Hijra for facilitating this. So truly appreciate it.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Matej. Thank you very much for your regard to all the participants or to all of us in Indonesia. Of course, without further ado, we are so hungry for knowledge. So please, we welcome you. We give you time and place to share your knowledge to all of us. Please welcome.
Fantastic. So let me just share my screen, set it up quickly. So hopefully you should be able to see the correct screen. let me know if you can see it, if everything came across.
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, fantastic. So today I would like to talk to you about cold chain in the digital age. As you mentioned before, it's a growing industry, and it's an industry that is impacting all of our lives. So we should be aware of it and see all the peculiarities of this particular part of supply chain. So on the agenda today, we're going to look at the traditional supply chains and the form of the cold chain that there are there, the challenges and the international standards that are regulating the cold chain. And we probe into different types of cold chains, such as food, pharmaceuticals, or FMCG, and transitioning into possible digital solutions, including Internet of Things, blockchain, and predictive AI. Then I prepared a small cold chain case study for the participants to think about it, to see whether they can engage and how they engage in critical thinking or problem solving. And from that, we transition into a comparison between the traditional versus the digital cold chains, and with the ending with the future trends of the cold chain technologies. So let's start at the beginning and look at the traditional cold chain. The traditional cold chain, as we all know it, is encompassing all the temperature controlled products and goods that we use. For vast majority of time, people don't even realize or don't think deeply about what it is behind the cold chain itself, what it requires to go to a supermarket and find a chilled or frozen product, meat supply, chicken, ice creams, etc. But also it extends further into later on pharmaceuticals, supply chains, all the products that need to be monitored within correct temperature ranges to ensure the efficacy of the product itself. And the smallest segment, and also unfortunately the most forgotten one on most of the time, is a segment based for various biological samples. So those are cold chain related to your doctor's appointments, when you go and you get your blood sample taken or any other samples taken, biopsy samples. All these things need to be temperature controlled and regulated, stored in order to preserve the nature of the cargo itself. So all these things are part of the cold chain itself. When we talk about cold chain, it's important to realize that the products need to be stored within given temperature ranges for the entire period of time, since the beginning of the journey of either a product or a biological sample or pharmaceutical medicine, all the way until it gets to the end customer, regardless it's whether it is a food that you're buying, or whether it's some maybe an insulin pen, or whether it's your blood sample that needs to go into a laboratory. So all it involves is the actual storage in the manufacturing facility, or where it's been made, or maybe in case of chicken slaughtered. Then the transportation, basically delivering through various transportation hubs and going all the way to the end point. The most important part of it is obviously maintaining the constant temperature throughout the entire journey, throughout the cold chain. And that's where the problem usually happens, because, as all of you know, supply chains in general are very complex, and cold chains are no different to the ordinary supply chain. You got multiple stakeholders engaged in handling the cold chain, And the more stakeholders there you have there, the more points of failure you may find. Yeah, so potential breaches can happen during handoffs between parties, can happen during the transportation itself, and malfunctioning of the temperature controlled equipment, such as a temperature controlled truck, or maybe reefers, reefer containers, when you're talking, for example, about sea shipping, etc. So all of these are possible points of failures where the integrity of the cold chain needs to be maintained. So as you can see right now, there are numbers of points of failures where this can happen. So when we look at the challenges in general, we can see temperature excursions. That means what I just mentioned, the products are stored outside of the correct temperature range. Then there is the logistics complexity. Those are the possible multiple handling points and handoffs between parties and modes of transport. Because for global cold chains, you can get several types of transportation modes within the journey from the source to the end customer. You can have air freight to cover the vast majority of the journey, and then the last mile can be done in temperature controlled vans or trucks, such as, for example, contact lenses. Yeah, so contact lenses are generally flown as an air cargo, and once they reach the point of destination, then obviously from the airport they get distributed in trucks or vans. Then another challenge are the possible monitoring gaps. We're talking about visibility, which is somewhat limited. We can call it blurry visibility, murky visibility. That usually happens when the data are not available in real time, when temperature excursions are not noticed, recorded appropriately, when you have malfunctioning equipment. Number 4 challenge are the compliance risks. Obviously, temperature controlled products are under strict supervision, regardless whether we talk about food or pharmaceutical products. They must adhere to international standards and directives, which we're going to talk about in a minute. And obviously, failure to adhere to these regulations can result in fines, recalls, low efficacies, potentially even damages, and brand reputation. Try to imagine simple scenarios where let's say your chicken was not handled correctly on its way from the slaughterhouse through the distribution channels to the supermarket, and it's been left for a number of hours on maybe on a high temperature, 20-25 degrees, maybe under the sun, and then can be reintroduced, and the temperature can be dipped down to avoid any potential write-offs. The consequences of that would be customers eating spoiled chicken, potentially getting food poisoning, etc. So the compliance risks in general are very real, very high. And finally, we talk about the product integrity. So apart from the physical damage itself, when we talk that frozen food, chilled food, when the food just simply gets boiled, or your ice cream melts into a puddle of water, you have more severe damages to product integrity, and that manifests especially when it comes to pharmaceutical products. products. So these are the main challenges in the traditional cold chains. And the point, a later point throughout the presentation, when we talk about digital transformation, digital trends in cold chains, we will discuss about the possibilities how the digitization of a cold chain will reduce, mitigate, or completely eradicate these challenges. When we look at international supply chains, we discover, or we should already know by now, that the complexity of them is enormous. And it gets even more complicated because not all the standards are completely unified. So here you can see three major regulatory bodies or standards who have some saying about temperature controlled products. When we look at the US part of the world, or US-led part of the world, we'll see most of the time the FDA and US-imposed regulations. So Food and Drug Authority obviously overarches both sections, the biggest sections of the cold chain, the food as well as the pharmaceutical parts of it, and obviously dictates GMP, which stands for good manufacturing practices and good distribution practices, to make sure that the products reach their end customers in the right condition. When we transition into the European space, we encounter European GDP standards. So yet again, it's a good distribution practices, which are somewhat aligned with the FDA's. The deviations there are relatively minimal. So apart from the good distribution practices and good manufacturing practices, they have also good storage practice as well. And I would say the standards that are pretty much global and unified are the WHO standards, the World Health Organization standards when it comes to the distribution practice. So health organization dictates predominantly the pharmaceutical landscape and how the pharmaceuticals should be distributed. So as I was mentioning in the previous slide, there are international standards and governing practices. The major ones are GMP, GDP, GSP, and sometimes they being referred as GXP, which encompasses a combination of the three different practices before combined together. The reason why it's being addressed as a GXP or in kind of a combined nature is the fact that you can't really separate and segregate these different practices because they work in synergies. They are linked one to another, and you can separate them only hypothetically. When you look at kind of a linear supply chain. However, in real life, one cannot really exist without the other. If, let's say, the GMPs are not adhered to, no matter how hard you try, you are unable to save it with the GDP and GSP. Because quite frankly, the product is already somewhat compromised. So these international standards work in conjunction together to give all the end users of pharmaceutical products or food the quality product in the end, to ensure that these customers are safe and the product that they are getting is safe to use. Now, when we look at the major types of cold chain, the two biggest parts are the food cold chain and pharmaceutical cold chain. So the food cold chain, we generally refer to fruit and vegetables, dairy products, and meat. All these products passing through the temperature-controlled supply chains, and each of them have different temperatures. So, for example, meat can go should be between 2 and 5 degrees, but can go from 0 to 5. Dairy 2 to 8. Vegetables can go up to usually 12 degrees. That's recommended. However, it's not strictly adhered to because it's not as perishable as, for example, dairy or meat. On the other hand, pharmaceuticals cold chain are more strict. We can see here, for example, vaccines or biological samples and other products. So unless we go for some special vaccines, like I think it was a Pfizer vaccine that had to be stored and obviously transported in sub-zero temperatures. It was, I think, -70. Then vast majority of pharmaceutical products, which are referred as cold or refrigerated, have to be stored up to 8 degrees, from 2 to 8 degrees. And finally, we have the other cold chains. They can be sometimes perceived as chemicals because certain chemicals have relatively high volatility, so should be transported into low temperatures and stored under low temperatures. But we can also mention here, for example, flowers. Those of you who usually go and buy flowers to either our partners, spouses, mothers, girlfriends, you name it, as soon as it's not really a local type of flower, it's been through a cold chain. Also, a time flown either from South America, Southeast Asia, from Africa, from Kenya. So all of these types of supply chain are present in our lives. So as mentioned before, the food cold chain, when I overgeneralize it, can go from 0 to 8 degrees, where small variations go with meat and seafood, while dairy can go all the way up to 8 degrees. Meat usually to 5 degrees Celsius. With a cold chain itself comes very strict regulations when it comes to contamination and preventing contamination and possible spoilage. So these food chains are regularly inspected and should adhere to ISO 22000 and the HACCP, which are the health and safety standards for food origin in Europe and in the US. Yet again, the contamination here is something that is very crucial, very important to discuss because food chain in particular is difficult to track. If you look at the example here on the picture, let me say normal cargo does not look like this, but you can see some loose loaded oranges and probably red peppers and pineapples, etc. And unlike pharmaceuticals or packed meat, it's very difficult to track them. So potential contamination of oranges throughout the supply chain and while the contamination may go undiscovered for a prolonged period of time, and then you can have these fruits mixed up with non-contaminated fruits, then can present real issue. So for these particular reasons, right now food chains looking into ways how to make the cold chains more transparent and easier to track. Pharmaceutical products, as mentioned before, goes within a similar temperature range between 2 to 8 degrees for products that should be held as refrigerated. But obviously we have also products that do not necessarily need to be refrigerated, but still somewhat temperature monitored. So your ordinary pills like ibuprofen, standard painkillers, maybe various creams and ointments, they usually should be stored maybe in a room temperature up to 25 degrees. Yeah, temperatures going over that sort of temperatures, 25, 30 degrees, will start it again damaging the products or reducing its efficacies. So therefore, it's very important to monitor them very closely. When we look at the various temperature ranges, and I've been talking here about 0 to 5 degrees and 2 to 8 degrees and up to 25 degrees. The problem is that yet again, within the cold chain environment, we don't have unified terminology. What does it mean cold? What does it mean refrigerated? What does it mean deep freeze? Yeah, what are the temperature ranges? If we look at different pharmacopoeias, we'll have different answers. So, for example, the European one says that refrigerator is from 2 to 8 degrees, while the US just simply says not exceeding 8 degrees. But doesn't says the bottom range. The Japanese pharmacopoeia also the same. Japanese they got 1 to 15 degrees is referred as cold. So it's important, especially for the medicinal products, to look at an individual product and mark them on the scale where they belong, and strictly stick to the temperature ranges, and build your supply chain around these temperature ranges. So that's why you can't really find in the pharmaceutical cold chains the terminology as a cold or room temperature, because it varies on the geographical location, whether it's Southeast Asia, whether it's North America, whether it's Europe. There can be there can be variations. There's always written a specific temperature range, and obviously for the European and vast majority of the world, in the degrees of Celsius. In North America, they're also using the Fahrenheit scale. So they can be both types of information provided on the packaging. Now, that was enough about current cold chain, about the problems that they face, about the various challenges, problems with visibility, etc. The question is right now, what does the digital transformation in cold chain do? What can it provide? How can it change it? So a couple of strong points. What digital transformation can bring to cold chain is, for example, the real-time monitoring. Your real-time monitoring of not only not only through the manufacturing facility or distribution facility, but also en route. So constant data loggers, the data loggers that are being either 3G, 4G, 5G connected to the network, transmitting signals to databases, where in real time operators of the supply chain can see whether the cargo is in the right temperature range or whether there is a possibility of some temperature excursion, etc. With the real-time monitoring, you can obviously address issues such as spoilage, when you have to throw away a product, where you need to write it off, regardless whether we're talking about food or pharmaceutical products. But also that brings also a greater transparency. On its own, the real-time monitoring brings the greater transparency, but when it's paired with blockchain, it's completely different league. Why? Well, because in any supply chain, any ecosystem where multiple parties have to work together, you cannot really rule out bad players. And a certain level of trust must be in place if you want to do business with your partners to start with. However, the trust can be very often misplaced. As I was saying before, when I gave the scenario with potentially some chicken being left in incorrect storage conditions in high temperature, maybe on direct sunlight, the same thing can happen to your pharmaceuticals. And that's a big problem, especially, for example, with pharmaceuticals, can occur because of some equipment failure or malfunctioning, or human error, negligence. And these things can result into large damages and potentially write-offs or insurance claims. And naturally, businesses and individuals are trying to avoid this. So scenarios or problems when you would have a product that is being held outside of the correct temperature range for a prolonged period of time because of, as I said, equipment failure. Try to imagine a delivery of insulin being held in 15, 18, 25 degrees Celsius in the direct sunlight, maybe because of I don't know, the temperature monitoring system in a warehouse failed. It got discovered the following day in the morning, and the panic hits. So what can happen is that companies try to hide it, try to show like nothing happened. And that's where the problem starts. Because subsequently downstream in the supply chain, it will resurface one way or another. That's where blockchain can step in, together with the real-time monitoring and with IoT sensors, Internet of Things, where the human element is not only removed from the equation, even though maybe not completely, but the possibility of human intervention into this is reduced significantly through the use of IoT sensors. But the blockchain provides the possibility of shared information that is immutable. So in the scenario which I was describing before, that a warehouse would have some fridge malfunction, and they would try to somehow hide the fact that the pharmaceutical products were off the limits, of the temperature limits. they can easily change the records in their own database because it is central to the supply chain. However, with blockchain and IoT, these recordings get automatically transmitted into a shared ledger where the information is getting encrypted and validated by other members, nodes inside of the blockchain ecosystem. Basically, it means when someone says this particular, or when the sensor sends an information, this particular product has been held between 2 to 8 degrees, it is recorded there, and no one can change it. Potential attempts to change it will be flagged because it will show the discrepancy of one recording of one party that is trying to change it compared to the rest of the ecosystem that has the shared information and has the original information. So blockchain brings greater visibility, traceability, can prevent fraud, and provides a data immutability that the cold chain so desperately needs. And finally, we have predictive analytics and AI. And yet again, it is paired with, for example, the Internet of Things, smart sensors that are constantly on regular intervals, 30 seconds, 1 minute, 5 minutes, keep sending data. Then the big data get collected and analyzed. And with predictive AI, can essentially foresee possible failures within the cold chain before they even occur. So companies are slowly starting to embrace these technologies. The real-time monitoring is already happening for quite some time. It's not completely new. However, the data are still being recorded and centrally stored, where one player can access it and change it, which is far from ideal. And the predictive analytics and AI driven analytics in as such that would prevent the cold chain failures, they are just being embraced as a relatively new thing. When I was talking about blockchain, and perhaps and I would assume that most of you have heard something about blockchain already. Part of blockchain are smart contracts. Smart contracts are essentially quite a simple thing. It's a piece of code that gets automatically executed if certain conditions are met. So when I was talking about the Internet of Things, about the constant monitoring through different types of sensors, that's the entry point. Those are the entry data for the smart contracts. So smart contracts can straight away execute a quarantine protocol for products that have had temperature excursion. That means the temperature has been breached. So because try to imagine, yet again, you have your pharmaceutical delivery, you've got a data logger there, data logger keep transmitting your temperature data to the database. And the moment the data logger sends a temperature that is higher than 8 degrees, it will trigger an alarm. That will be done through the smart contract. At that point, on the nearest node in the supply chain, when there is a handoff between parties, as both parties will see the same type of information because they'll be using blockchain, they will also see that a certain product is out of the temperature range, and they can quarantine it straight away. Yeah, so smart contracts will prevent even sending the product further down the supply chain before it goes through the emergency protocols, like quarantining the product, investigating for how long it's been outside of the temperature range, whether it's reduced efficacy and can be still reintroduced back to the cold chain, or whether it's been damaged completely and has to be discarded. Smart contracts obviously are automated. Yeah, as I said, if a certain condition gets is met, then an action gets executed, and it will also help to automate compliance. So not only that it reduces human error, but it also displays and shows the real-time and trustworthy data. So for potential auditors, if when auditors come and they want to see whether the company is adhering to all the GXPs, they can just simply go through the data recorded on their blockchain, and the data have completely different validity and also weight because they are immutable. Those type of data cannot be forged, cannot be faked, and the auditors know that whatever is written in blockchain is the actual trustworthy data. And the integration between the IoT devices and real-time data capturing and being recorded on blockchain is an essential part of the digital transformation. So when I talk about the Internet of Things, we are talking about constant monitoring devices that keep sending data about a product and data that are associated with it. So we can talk about humidity, we can talk about temperature, we can talk about location throughout the supply chain. But these are not the only ones. We can have various gyroscopes to ensure that maybe a product which is fragile has not been in any accident or it's been handled with care. You've got, as I said, various types of vials that are being shipped and moved through a cold chain. So those need to be handled with care. If that doesn't happen, then various disputes over the damaged product can happen. People will be blaming one or another. Oh no, it was the customer who just damaged that, and they're now trying to ping it on the actual transport company. The transport company was saying, no, our drivers didn't do it. So there is always a gray area, which is an utter nightmare to deal with and leads to sometimes really horrible disputes. So these constant monitoring IoT sensors are definitely a product that can help to improve, yet again, the visibility inside of the supply chain and bring potential accountability for damages. They can provide the immediate alert for temperature excursions, can be for contaminations, product spoilage, or improper handling. And the wireless connectivity is somewhat important. to those of you who may have the question, say, oh yeah, but what's going to happen in the areas which may not have the data connectivity? What's happening there? Are we losing the visibility, or what's happening? It's quite straightforward. These sensors have the capability to keep recording the data in their internal memory, in their internal buffer. And once they reconnect back, they transmit it as a batch with the correct timestamps. So here you can see that the Internet of Things devices improve the transparency, traceability, and also can help to proactively manage the supply chain to avoid various spoilages and write-offs. Another part, an interesting part to the whole digital transformation is the incorporation of RFIDs, which are radio frequency identifiers. And yet again, similar to other IoT devices, these are wireless technologies that can be placed on individual products, like, for example, a computer mouse, should you need to track it for one reason or another, or the box or the mouses, which you would have maybe 10 of them in one box, or on the pallet itself. So throughout the RFID, you can track not only the individual items, but also the larger shipping units. So the RFID, the beauty of RFID is the fact that, like anything else, the data hierarchy is kind of a parent to a child. So from the larger units to the smaller individual pieces, and the other way around. So you can always select which type of data you want to read, or which type of RFID tags you want to read. And the RFID tags are incredibly fast to read. You don't need to scan them one by one. The products usually go either through conveyor belts, through small kind of gates. You can imagine it essentially like a readers, or maybe an airport security type of gate, which holds the scanners, and all the RFIDs are scanned there, which is essentially a split of a second reading, and within a split of a second, you can have tens or hundreds of units recorded at the same time. So RFID combined with blockchain and other IoT sensors is definitely one of the good solutions for cold chain products. And we are getting to the final part on the digital transformation of the cold chain, and that's the predictive AI for cold chain optimization. So it's currently being tested, trialed, some real-time predictive modeling for cold chains depending on past events and past historical data. It's incorporated with machine learning models trying to optimize the cold chains to avoid reoccurrence of previous events, and try to predict where they could happen again and under which circumstances they happen. So the model runs a analysis of the past events, and basically currently recording the current data, comparing and contrasting these two, and potentially issuing some alerts and flags when there is a possibility for some, for example, temperature excursion. Also, AI right now helps with the cold chain forecasting, where obviously, the improper forecasting can have severe repercussions when it comes to overstocking or possible shortages. So these are the current kind of strongest points, strongest trends where the digital transformation of the cold chain is heading to and is currently using and exploring. So we are going to see how it catches on. But for now, I prepared a small case study for the audience. As was said at the beginning, maybe for the master students who are studying to sharpen their critical thinking. This is a small case study about a company which is a mid-sized pharmaceutical distributor in the UK with an annual turnover of £20 million, specializing in temperature-sensitive medicines to hospitals, clinics, and pharmacies. The background of the current situation is they have one central warehouse for storage and order dispatch. The last mile deliveries is happening through a fleet of non-temperature controlled vans. And the packaging or the shipment of the temperature controlled goods is happening only in the ordinary polystyrene boxes with frozen gel packs. The problems that they are having is in inconsistent cooling during transport, and they have frequent temperature excursions outside of the target zone, temperature zone, which was 2 to 8 degrees. The problem that they have is the rising customer complaints regarding the product integrity, and their monthly write-offs were £30,000. Which, when it's annualized, it was £360,000. Now, the questions that needs to be solved or answered. Try to identify all types of businesses and operational risks for the company, and try to think of and recommend a specific corrective and preventive actions and improvements. So I would like to give the audience a minute or two to think about it, and perhaps whoever has some sort of a list of the business and operational risks, as well as potential corrective and preventive actions, feel free to speak up and share with us what you can think of.
So, to all participants, please do not hesitate. Please raise your idea or your opinion.
So what would you think were the business and operational risks? Anybody can give me some example?
Sure. Good night, sure.
Yeah. So what would it be?
Hello, sure.
I hope-
My name is Septual Christo, sure.
Hello. So what do you think? What type of business and operational risks can you think of?
Sure. I will ask you but some case. My voice to listen, sir.
Sorry, I'm not following. Can you repeat it again, please? My question was whether someone would like to identify types of business and operational risks. What do you think that the company could have faced? I got Mr. Fadiel. If you'd like to unmute yourself and speak up, please.
Yes, uh, Mr. Matej, thank you for the sharing. This is about the okay, this is about the your question about the identify all types of business and operational risk, right? And yeah, as your explanation before, this is of course this is will be impact to the financial loss and 300,000 pounds, right? And of
Correct,
course, this
yes.
is will be impact to the customer. So the customer this satisfaction because they get the complaint and from the the clinic and pharmaceutical retail like that, and will be a potential loss contract with the long term impact. And of course, this is impact to regulatory compliance risk and reputational risk from the the, the price. And for the operational risk, I think this is for the transport risk and the packaging, process, inventory risk, of course, and the quality and safety risk. This is for the operational risk. And recommend for the corrective and implementation. The improvement maybe this is a need to investigation for the cost and tighten the SOP like that, and use the transport storage refrigerator transport and upgrade the packaging with the proper packaging and digital monitoring, training, and compliance for the GDP. Yeah, this is the few my POV for this your question. Thank you, sir.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for the participation. And yeah, it was spot on. Yeah. When we look into that, the company was facing obviously operational risks throughout the temperature excursions, whilst medicines were losing efficacy and increasing liability risks. Potential lawsuits for the company were quite a real threat. The lack of monitoring was operational risk because they had no idea what's happening with the product inside or during the transport. And there were also manual dispatch errors. It means that poor warehouse dispatch procedures are also causing delays and incorrect loading. So the way how the products were packaged, with the frozen gel packs, it was far from ideal. From the financial perspective, you correctly mentioned obviously the finances. It had impact on the rising insurance premiums due to repeated claims and loss of contracts with healthcare providers due to the level of service, but also a loss of good reputation, credibility. It's mentioned down here. Damaging trust with our hospitals and pharmacies. The non-compliance and regulatory risks were with good distribution practice and the other regulations in general. The potential fines and audits for failed audits were a real threat. And quite frankly, pharmaceutical cold chain is a serious business, needs to be perfect. So having cold chain broken like this is absolutely not acceptable. When we go to pharmaceutical recommendations and the warehouse dispatch improvements, we're implementing rigid standard operating procedures for handling temperature sensitive goods, proper staff training on GDP and also on these SLPs. The staging area had to be temperature controlled as well. And also we got automated warehouse management systems, yet again paired with RFIDs. You mentioned upgrade to the vans, the temperature controlled vans, change the packaging solutions, which is also definitely a way to go from ordinary polystyrene, for example, to vacuum polyurethane. And you've got also the IoT, so data loggers and IoT sensors. Route optimization can be also used to avoid traffic. Yet again, AI tool used together with predictive road optimization. When we come to monitoring and compliance, integration of IoT data with central dashboard, or sometimes it's called control tower for the dispatch managers, is definitely a way to go. Blockchain ledger for traceability and audit purposes, as well as to show the customers the true nature of the data. And quarterly GDP audits to ensure that everything is under control. With the annual write-offs of 360,000, potential investment in reefer vans and digital monitoring is $250,000. So the payback would be something between 12 to 18 months. So it was very nice to hear from you, your train of thoughts and the way how you'd solve it. This is, of course, a hypothetical case study here. However, it has a real background. It's something that I experienced in the past. And back then, obviously, not all solutions were available at that time. So you can see that cold chains are absolutely crucial and must be transparent in order to retain its credibility. When we
Mr.
compare and
Matej,
contrast, yes?
I see that there are some comments. Yeah, from the audience. So due of time, I
Oh,
will read the comment. Maybe you will have a comment also. Okay. So due of time, I will read it. The company might face. This is from Alicia Aurora. The company might face reputation risk as customer complaints began rising, which may damage trust with hospitals, clinics, and pharmacy. May also lose contracts. Clients to be two competitors who got more reliable cold chain management. To prevent such cases, the company might want to invest in temperature controlled transportation, as we use real-time temperature tracking to share reports with the clients is to build the trust. Also, a comment from Rizky Nurdiansa, due time, I will read it. Another risk might be quality and reputation risk, increasing customer complaints about product integrity and financial risk, reduce profit margins due to high write-off. That's just some comment from some participants. Thank you.
Absolutely. Spot on. Well noticed. Thank you very much for bringing it to my attention. And again, because I got multiple screens here, I missed the chat messages here. So these are great and valid comments, and they are 100% accurate. So from my experience, all these things can happen. They are real threats, and companies need to address it. In my case, having or working on this on a similar scenario, yet not so severe, to be frank, the biggest threat that the company can essentially see is not only the loss of reputation, which is bad enough, but it's a loss of license. If there are constant problems or recurring problems with the cold chain, the company may lose its license. The license will be revoked and will be very difficult to obtain it again. And that is essentially the biggest threat of them all to the company, because that would be utterly detrimental. Now, so because we are going towards the end of this webinar, we're just going to look at the comparison between traditional supply chains and digital supply chains. So here you can see that the benefits of the digital cold chain is the fact that you have a real-time monitoring is throughout the entire journey inside of the supply chain. The blockchain itself ensures the immutability of the records, not only the transparency, but also the immutability. While smart contracts will automate some regulatory and compliance checks, as well as streamline potential payments during handoffs. Once the product is handed from one party to another, can be executed straight away if all the conditions are met. And obviously the increased data accuracy and accessibility. When compared with the traditional supply chain, you can see that there is a pretty much manual monitoring or manual recordings of the temperature records. I put here it's paper-based records, but they are not really paper-based, but it's a digital paper-based. You just put it manually into a spreadsheet that everyone can monitor. So the difference between paper and Microsoft Excel spreadsheets for the data integrity is almost non-existing, because the data can be easily manipulated. The lack of real-time visibility can prevent potential proactive management to either supply chain disruptions or temperature excursions. Compliance verification is time consuming and very, very rarely kind of has any significant impact. It's usually retrospective rather than proactive and preventive. And very often you can find various inconsistencies within the data that are running throughout the cold chains. So to summarize it, we can agree, we can see at these moments that the biggest trends when the cold chain these days are the AI-driven automation, which is going to be used for predictive pattern recognition, even more advanced Internet of Things integration to bring more big data that can be analyzed by the AI, but also that can be fed and logged into blockchain. And with these initiatives in blockchain, you can also dive into more sustainable innovations where green technologies can be much more easier or simpler to validate and verify, such as user friendliness of refrigerant agents or particular types of maybe less energy consuming cooling solutions. So to summarize this, we can see that the traditional supply chains have many challenges that are trying to be addressed in most of the cases rather in silo modes rather than as an entire ecosystem, which quite frankly hampers the results, and the results that are being delivered are not as great as they could be. The international standards provide some basic framework, but there is definitely an improvement that can be still made. Blockchain and smart contracts are definitely a way to enhance and automate the cold chains. So the visibility as well as transparency and seamless integration of different parts or different parties through the execution of smart chains is definitely something that will be highly beneficial. And finally, predictive AI can optimize logistics and possibly prevent some disruptions or temperature excursions. So that's been all. That's it from me. So thank you very much for your attention. And right now, I'm open to any questions that you may have and that you'd like to ask me.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Matej. So to participant, please do not hesitate, raise your question.
Sir.
Yeah,
Good
we
night,
have
sir.
already.
Yes, sir. Septual Christu.
Yes, we can hear you, please.
Yes. Yes. Hello.
Yes, we can hear
But
you.
okay. Good night,
Yes,
sir.
yes.
Okay, sure. I will ask you, sir, about issue as last night in our country, Indonesia. This case about frozen prawn product that contain radioactive isotope. Maybe you can also listen and read this news. This case was investigation from our government, and that the frozen prawn was indicated contain from container the Philippines country. But I will ask how to first identify to be the product must be safe to distributions, and which an identification tools or facility to be as preventive solutions, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you for the question. Not familiar with this particular case. I have to look it up. How the contamination occurred, whether it was due to improper storage or it was kind of a natural occurrence. What I mean by natural occurrence, maybe if the prawns were caught somewhere in the area with increased radioactivity. I have no idea. However, I would see it as a failure of quality control at the beginning. So if we go with the hypothesis that it was caught in some contaminated area, then I'm quite sure that that area is quite well known, that no commercial fishing should be happening in that area. So it's definitely a breach of some standards. At least from my superficial understanding. If the contamination occurred through some sort of improper handling, which is even more baffling for me, how prawns can become radioactive, then yet again, it's a breach of health and safety procedures and quality control. Yeah, if it was stored maybe in some sort of old or transported in some sort of old container that may have been exposed to some locations with increased radiation. I don't know right now, but either or at this moment, at the beginning, I would say it's a quality control issue, either straight at the beginning from the fishermen or fishing industry, shrimping industry at this point, or through the usage of the containers. Yeah, so yet again, I'm not familiar on details how, in what way the prawns were exposed to this radioactivity. How to mitigate it? It's a good question. I would say follow the SOPs. If there are some sort of a no-go zones for fishing, just don't do the fishing there. And yet again, if your fishing fleet or shrimping fleet is equipped with geotags, geolocations, can be easily tracked through entering a certain geofenced perimeter, and that can flag an alert. If we talk about a contaminated container, that is more tricky. I'm not really familiar that much with the SOPs for contamination, decontamination, or shelf life of a container. But yet again, containers have their serial numbers. Containers are traceable when it comes to the location where they were shipped or used. And if such an information is recorded, for example, in the blockchain, it is possible. It's possible to see it. It's visible for all partners. What type of a container you're getting, where it's been to, where it may have been to some sort of a danger zones, or what's been the last thing that's been loaded into that container. So I hope I kind of answered your question.
Okay, sure. Thank you, sir.
Yes, thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank you very much for the answer, Mr. Matej. It seems that in here we have already in the chat room and also some raised hand already. So maybe Mr. Fadil would like to off cam, he would like to ask some question. And meanwhile, also prepare for Mr. Fatan, he would like to ask. Okay, Mr. Fadil.
Okay, thank you, Pak Rifan. I have a
We would like to
question.
off cam or to eyes, please. Yes, Mr. Fadil, please raise your question, simple, quick, and directly to Mr. Matej.
Okay, I have a simple question actually, because actually I have experience in the delivery for the pharmaceutical product, because I'm working in a pharmaceutical actually. And sir, I have the first question. This is for the potential risk. Maybe you have the experience when you deliver the control temperature product, like the pharmaceutical or medicine product, when the data logger or the data real time, this is not accurate, or this is like the fault in the process. So you get the wrong or the fault result. Maybe you have experience for this. And second, this is about the predictive AI, because I'm actually curious about the real example in the process logistic for this. I don't have the experience about this. Okay, this is my question, Pak Stephen. And okay, thank you, Pak. Thank you, sir.
So I'm not sure if I caught your question well. Was it about a failure of data loggers, and the other part of the question was I'm not really sure the other one, because the audio here on my end was a little bit lagging, so it was cutting out. Can you perhaps maybe rephrase it one more time for me, please?
Okay, the first question, this is are you have experience if your device, your the monitoring or like the data logger, this is the result is fault. This is not accurate. Because I have experience, we deliver the cargo with below 25 digit, and we put the data logger, but the result when our consignee receive the cargo, and they say this is like the fluctuative data, but we already use the we already maintain the cargo with the control tank, and this is by air. And yeah, maybe you have experience about maybe you the device, this is get the wrong result to you.
So I would in this instance I'll take it one by one. So In this instance, I would suggest to take it through redundancy measures. So first of all, if you say that the data loggers may show incorrect readings, that needs to be somehow validated, that whatever the reading they're showing is either right or wrong. So through regular calibration, then you can say the monitor, the RFID tag, the RFID data logger was monitored, for example, every Monday. Yeah, every Friday when we receive it back through the backhaul, we check it. It shows no discrepancy, but just in case we validate it, or maybe on Friday it will show you discrepancy half a degree. Yeah, maybe bigger. So first of all, regular calibration of the data loggers. Point number one. Point number two, if you have identified that you have a reoccurring problem on maybe some routes or with some vehicles, maybe with some partners, with some products, put there multiple monitors. Yeah, put there increase the number of data loggers to create proper redundancy. Yeah, because if I'm not mistaken, the military says 3 is 2, 2 is 1, and 1 is none. So if you're sending one data logger and it fails, then obviously you collecting no data. You have nothing to follow. If you send 2 data loggers, yeah, then they've been calibrated. Then both of them will give you some sort of data that you can later on analyze. I would also suggest maybe to use different brands of data loggers, just to ensure that you avoid a batch failure. Sometimes the data loggers may be prone to give false readings from the same batch, maybe kind of manufacturing defect. So I would recommend you to use 2 different brands of data loggers. Yeah, so I hope I answered your question here, and feel free to ask me the other question.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much for the question and also the answer. Mr. Matej, it seems that now we have a question from the chat room. I don't know that Mr. Julius is ready or not, but let me do a time. Let me read it for you. As we know, using AI, blockchain, and those technology are not cheap, especially in Indonesia. How about the scalability of product volume? Can we implement in small, medium enterprise business? So it seems between the investment and the benefit or the commercial. So you maybe would like to answer this question. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. So yes, you're right. AI is not cheap. Blockchain is a technology that's been around for quite some time now. So it's cheaper. There are multiple blockchain solutions. For the cold chain, very often is used Hyperledger Fabric quite often, which has a good scalability and has the equivalent of the smart contract built in that. So it's being used. The scalability of that is quite large, and it is a permissioned blockchain, which means that not everyone can get into the ecosystem. It needs to be set up by either a leading authority or the leading company who's willing to incorporate it, and then obviously pull the various stakeholders in. Yeah, but it can certainly be implemented for small and medium enterprises in businesses, and the cost is not as big as it may seem. And furthermore, do not forget that it is a cost benefit. It's based on cost benefit analysis. So if your failures, not your failures, failures within the supply chain or within the cold chain are big enough, then it will justify the cost. Yeah, or if the potential failures are big enough, the threat of losing a license, it is good. It is definitely a high. It is a definitely problem of a significant magnitude for vast majority of companies. So it justifies the cost.
Yes, thank you very much, Mrs. Matej, for the answer. It seems we have another, maybe this is the last one, because due of time, from Mr. Let me check, Mr. Fatan, In your opinion, when or where do cold chain started in case of wild cow farm or animal fish meat product, and how digital cold chain could improve the traceability? Yeah, I'm not quite sure about the question. Maybe you can get it, or can you get it, Mr. Matej?
Was it in the chat? Because I can't see it in the chat room.
Yes, it is in the chat room actually.
Okay.
In your opinion, when or where do cold chain started in case of wild cow farm animal product? It means that how digital cold chain could improve the traceability for the fish that couch in the wild. Yeah, maybe there's some food industry in the wild or in the industry of food there.
So it starts. So if we're talking about the meat industry, that obviously starts inside of the farm. Well, not necessarily the farm, but definitely the slaughterhouse. Yeah. So once it goes to the slaughterhouse, the meat needs to go through a temperature control. However, we can argue that the supply chain, meat supply chain, can start even before that. It can start on the farm. We can have other data associated with meat, can be the type of environment that the animal was living in. Yeah, was it caged? Was it free range? Was it grass fed? Was it corn fed? Did it have any antibiotics? Did it have any vaccinations? Yeah, all these sort of things would be already farm related and still can be necessary for the food chain as such. Yeah, it's part of the food chain. The cold chain itself, I would say the cold chain starts in the slaughterhouse when the animal gets slaughtered.
Okay, I think it's good. This is the last question due our time from Mr. Arta. In Indonesia's cold chain, high cost and frequent product spoilage remain major issue. Which digital technology, IoT, blockchain, or AI should be prioritized first to deliver the fastest and most impactful improvement? So it's like a question, which one?
Was it a high spoilage and what was the beginning? Can you read it for me, please, again? Because
Okay, in Indonesian cold chain, high cost and frequent product spoilage. In Indonesian cold chain, high cost and frequent product spoilage remain major issue. Yeah, so with digital technology, IoT, blockchain, or AI should be prioritized to deliver the fastest and most impactful improvement.
So first of all these things, IoT, blockchain, and AI will work the best together. Because if you separate them, you're not going to get the desired effect. It's the same like if those of you maybe who visited some countries with snow, it's like if you decide to go out in the middle of winter and wearing just a coat, you forget your gloves and you forget your hat, you'll be freezing. Yeah, the same goes with this. All these things complement each other. So they need to be used in conjunction. The problem that you're facing here is the spoilage, and you need to investigate the root cause of the spoilage, why it is happening. It's not happening because of the fact that you may not have the visibility. You already know that it's happening. The most important thing is to identify the root cause, whether it's maybe incorrect equipment, like not temperature controlled vans, maybe the vans are old, maybe the AC units are not powerful enough. I don't know, it can be a whole range of reasons. But starting with this, identifying the root cause, and only then, when you know the root cause, then you can start deploying a possible solution. So if you say we have a high spoilage because our vans are failing, yeah, the AC units in our vans are failing, and you need to investigate why. Is it too old? Is it losing the refrigeration gas? Is it lack of maintenance? Yeah, so I would recommend here to follow the root cause analysis. You can use fishbone diagram. You can use 5 whys. Any of these tools to get to the bottom of the issue, and only then, when you know the root cause, either one or several of them, you can start deploying these technologies.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Matej. There are so many questions they hunger for knowledge from your side. But unfortunately, time is limited us. So maybe to all participants still have questions, yeah, maybe do not hesitate to email, to contact Mr. Matej. Yeah, thank you very so much for the incredible, insightful, and engaging for today's international lecture. Your presentation was not only highly informative, but also wonderfully clear and accessible. Unfortunately, the session was a fantastic use for our time, and we are deeply grateful for your sharing your valuable expertise with us. It was an absolute pleasure learning from you. So we are come about to the end. Before we end the session, we like to get some closing speech from our beloved Professor Agus, and also we will give you the certificate from our beloved university. Well, Professor Agus, we would like to invite you to give the closing speech to all of the participants, or also to Mr. Matej.
Okay, thanks.
Time to give it to you.
Okay, thanks, Mr. Stephen. Now it's my turn to give a closing remarks, yeah? Okay. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. As we come to the end today international lecture, I would like on behalf of ULBI to express my sincere gratitude and appreciation. First, our highest appreciation goes to our distinguished speaker, Dr. Matej, Senior Lecturer of Logistic and Supply Chain Management at the Higher College of Technology, Abu Dhabi, UAE. Thank you for your inspiring and insightful presentation on the cold chain in the digital age. Your lecture has taken us on a comprehensive journey from an introduction to the traditional cold chain system to the challenge and international standard that shape global practices. You help us understand the different type of cold chain, whether in the food, pharmaceuticals, or FMCG, and how each sector requires a specific solution. Most importantly, your explanation of the digital solutions such as IoT, blockchain, and artificial intelligence clearly showed us how technology is revolutionizing cold chain operation. The Palma cold chain case study was particularly eye-opening, illustrating how precision and technology can safeguard sensitive product. The comparison between the traditional and digital cold chain gave us a clear framework to evaluate progress, while the discussion on the future trend in the cold chain technology opened our mind to the possibilities ahead. Finally, your summary and key takeaway provided practical lesson that our students and participants can apply in both academic and professional contexts. We also extend our appreciation to Dr. Hijaz Saputra for his strong support in promoting this event. Our gratitude goes to the Dean of the Faculty of Logistics and Business and Head of the Master of Logistic Management Program, our respected lecturers, the organizing committee, all master and bachelor students, and every participant who has actively joined this lecture. Encouragingly, the total number of audience was 175 people at the start of the webinar. This international lecture is a strong example of how ULBI connect the global expertise with the local learning. By engaging with an international scholar, our students not only gain a deeper knowledge, but also sharpen their critical thinking, expand their perspective, and align with the most recent global trend in logistics and supply chain. Finally, ladies and gentlemen, today's lecture is not just about the learning the cold chain in theory. It is about the embracing the digital transformation that is reshaping industry worldwide. This event is a milestone in ULBI's journey toward excellent innovation and global engagement. Let us take the insight we gained today as inspiration to build smarter, stronger, and more sustainable logistic system for the future. With that, I officially close this international lecture. Thank you very much, and wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Thank you very much, Professor Agus. Thank you for the awesome closing speech. Now we would like to give the certificate to our beloved speaker. And yet not forget, we would like to take picture as a member for us so we can remember this. We have this of the session. So we'd like to all participants, please open your camera. And now some member of administration would like to take pictures. Okay, the taking picture starting 3, 2, 1. Please give your smile. Another one. 3, 2, 1. And don't forget to give a handshake for the logistic. Start with L.
L, Mr.
So we can
Matej,
use hand.
L, the symbol
L,
of
right?
logistic.
Okay, symbol of the logistic.
Symbol of
To all
logistic.
participants,
Okay.
please. Don't forget to symbol of logistic. We take a picture. 3, 2, 1. Take another one. 3, 2, 1. Take another one. 3, 2, 1. Thank you very much to all
Thank
the
you very much.
participants. Yeah, thank you for this great, awesome evening to all participants, esteemed colleagues, and our brilliant speaker. As time our together draw to close, the knowledge start here must not end here. Let us carry this momentum forward. Continue to collaborate, share insight, and thank you to our incredible speaker for your invaluable insight, and to each of you, all the engaged participants. Your expertise is critical link. Go forth and build intelligent, unbreakable, and cold chain of tomorrow in your education. See you next time, and may Allah bless you with good health, happy weekend, and thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Mr.
See you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Prof. Thank you, Prof.
Thank you,
Mr.
Mr.
Matej.
Dr.
Thank you, Mr. Matej. Have a good day.
Matej. You, thank you.
Dr. Hijrah,
Thank you
thank you, Dr.
all.
Hijrah.
Thank you all. Dr. Hijrah, thank
Thank you,
you.
Professor. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Manage uncertainty in the global supply chain.
With e-commerce booming, businesses need skilled.
Thank you, Prof.
Thank you, Mr. Stephen. Thank you, Ma'am Ayu.
Thank you to all participants. Have a good day.
And
Thank
global
you,
Mr.
Mr.
Stephen.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a good day.
See you
So
soon.
awesome,
Enjoy your
Mr.
weekend.
Stephen and Mom Ayu.
Yes, friend. See you again.
See you tomorrow.
Hey, Dr. Hijrah, good to see you.
Thank you,
Thank you, Mr.
Pak Freddy, bagaimana Pak Freddy?
Pak
Ya.
Freddy, maaf tadi tidak
Ya,
karena waktunya. Mohon maaf Pak Freddy.
Ya, nggak apa-apa. Hanya
Pak Freddy,
Ya,
itu
gimana Pak Teh?
kemungkinan gini Pak, di dalam transportasi itu kan yang bikin mahal karena nggak ada returnnya ya, balikannya. Nah
Em.
biasanya